Well, welcome, guys. Thanks for spending a bit of time with us. The first question I always like to ask the guys who played here before, what's it like being back in St. John? Matthew, maybe we'll start with you.
It's been awesome. Got in yesterday, and it's been awesome to see everybody, see the city. It's just been great to be back. I haven't been here in a while, so great to see familiar faces.
Yeah, it's special to be back. Obviously, seeing a lot of familiar faces, loyal fans that we played in front of. So I'm just excited to be back here.
Yeah, just like Nathan and Matthew said, I think it's just always fun to be back, especially seeing at the rink where we played, see how good the crowds are and how big a fan St. John is for the game of hockey. So obviously being back here, seeing all the guys, seeing all the boys that we won together, it's always fun. So we're all happy to be here.
I know some of you guys have been in town for a couple of days. What are your thoughts on the Memorial Cup experience so far in a place where you guys all played junior hockey?
I think it's been great. I mean, I've said it to many people, even watching at home. The building's been filled. Looks like everybody's enjoying themselves. And the games have been great. I mean, it's every game's been almost a one-goal game, so I don't think you can ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, it's special. It's just I know how hard it is to win this tournament, but it's just an honor to be here. All the teams from around Canada. I know how hard it is to get the job done, but it's great to see the Sea Dogs doing so well, and big game tonight.
No, exactly. I think that's what it is. Just seeing the event and seeing the streets being full and people enjoying themselves. I think that's what it's all about. The tournament is always fun to watch, obviously, and like Nathan just said, I think we're all excited for tonight's game.
We'll talk a little bit about your hockey career and kind of where it's taken you, but maybe going back to the start, maybe talk a little bit about how you got involved in the game. What age did you start playing, and what was it like kind of early days for you playing the sport of hockey?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I started, I think probably when I was, as long as I could stand. My parents had me on the backyard rink, between the ages of 3 and 4. So it just started from there. Mini sticks in the basement, and ever since then I've loved the game. So it'll always be part of my life.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you can ask the question to pretty much anyone here. It's all different stories, but the same way. We all started so young, just dreaming about playing hockey in the basement and out on the rinks, and it's exciting to be at this opportunity, and being here before, it's special. But it's a very similar story with all of us, just growing up, having a dream of playing in the NHL, and fortunate enough to do it for a living.
I think same kind of story I've had. I have a brother that's older than me, so obviously being the smaller brother, you want to do the same thing as him. So that's kind of how I got going when I was younger, and obviously it's been a long road from there, but that's when the love for the game started really young.
Was it always just hockey for you guys growing up, or did you play other sports as a kid as well? And if so, how did that kind of help you become a better athlete?
I mean, I know for myself, I was into tennis. Paddling was big at home in Halifax. It's a huge sport, so I did a bunch of those things. All my buddies did, and I think that's always kind of rounded me as a hockey player, and kind of made me appreciate how special it is to actually play the game and in front of great fans.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I tried to play everything. I think it's important to play all sports. You kind of take a little bit of every sport, and you can bring it into the game that you're passionate about. So I played a lot of lacrosse growing up, a lot of golf. Me and Heisey are going to organize a golf game here soon, try to take some money off them.
I think I was the same way. I think growing up, my father would never let me play hockey in the summer, so I was big into baseball, golf, basketball a lot. So that's kind of what I did. And obviously when hockey, actually when I got drafted here, I had to give up baseball just to start working out in the summers, because I guess that's what we had to do at that point. So I kind of gave up the other sports and focused on hockey, but my whole life pretty much played other sports.
Was there a point when you were really young in the game where you kind of knew that you had the talent maybe to make a career out of this? And was there a kind of a pivotal moment or a period of time in your really young career in hockey where you knew you were going to go all in and try to make this thing work?
For me, I think I remember I was probably 10 or 11, and I just remember saying to my parents, like, this is what I wanted to do. Obviously, at that point, it was very far-fetched. I was very young, but I said to my parents, I said, listen, like, I'm going to do anything that I can do to become a professional hockey player. And, there's a lot of ups and downs, as I'm sure these guys would attest to, but just very, very lucky to be able to say that I do that.
Yeah, for me it was. I don't know if any of my school teachers are here from when I was in St. John, but they might not like to hear this. But I was a little, almost delusional to the fact it was the only thing I wanted to do. Just put my mind to it, and it's a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice. But ever since I was probably 5 years old, if you ask me what I want to do, I just want to be a hockey player. So just put my mind to it, and didn't listen to anybody else, and just kept plugging away.
I think it was pretty much similar to Nathan for me. I think there's no, my dad's a teacher, so we used to always get in fights about school, and because I hated school, but you know what, that was my thing. I wanted to play hockey. That's what I wanted to do for a living, and obviously really fortunate that it worked, but obviously, like those guys said, there's a lot of ups and downs, and you get to learn more about yourself, but now to be here and be fortunate enough to play hockey for a living, obviously it's great.
You've referenced your brother and you've mentioned your parents and that type of thing. Like, what role was your family, either your siblings or your parents or whatever, what role did they play in kind of getting you involved in the sport and developing your talent and motivating you, or what role did they play kind of as you guys kind of progressed through your hockey career?
I mean, for me, my family was my biggest supporter. I'm sure these guys would say the same thing. But they really did put their best foot forward. They did anything that they could do for me, whether it was buy me a new hockey net. As simple as that seems, to me it was a big thing back in the day to be able to just shoot pucks in the driveway and do stuff like that. So I wouldn't be here without them, and very fortunate for that.
Yeah, I mean, behind every success story, there's always a whole team behind you, right? So you don't really realize it when you're young, how much sacrifice is involved with your parents, and it's expensive sport to play, and all the travels, and all the hotel rooms and stuff. I'm sure a lot of people in here can attest to it that have young kids. It's a big sacrifice, and you don't really grow to appreciate it until you're a lot older. But behind every hockey player that's made it, there's an army behind them that have helped them along the way for sure.
Yeah, they definitely, I think my parents, my brother did the biggest thing for me. I think they supported me the whole way through. My parents were big on, obviously, hockey as a game and just having fun and enjoying doing it. And that was the biggest thing for me growing up, and still to this day. Obviously, now it's a job, but I think you got to remember that it's a game and it's fun to be there. And you got to want to be at the rink. You got to want to put the hours in and try and make yourself a better hockey player. But I think that's what I grew up with. It was always about having fun and have fun while doing it, and that way it's easier to put in the time for it.
You all arrived in St. John to play your junior hockey. What did you know about the city before you arrived here? And just talk about that process of finding out you were coming to St. John to play your junior hockey.
Mine was a little bit different for sure. Growing up just outside of Quebec City, didn't speak a word of English coming here, so when I saw I got drafted here, my first reaction wasn't the best. Obviously, I knew everything was English here, but like the first day I got here, obviously I was really happy to be here. Made me learn English fairly quickly. Heisey probably remembers my first year when I got in. He asked me how I was doing. I couldn't even answer. I didn't know what to say back to him. But you know what? Ever since I got here, I'm fortunate for that. It made me learn English, made me be outside of my comfort zone, and obviously everything that went down here, I'm very fortunate for.
Yeah, for me it was a little different. I moved here I think when I was 12 or 13 years old. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know this part of Canada existed, and now I won't leave. So moving here was a life changer for me. I love it here so much. It's a special place, and it's nice to see the fans get rewarded with a Memorial Cup. We're really hoping we got it to host my third year here. Obviously that didn't happen, but this part of the country is very special, and I love it here.
Yeah, I remember this being St. John being the one place that I really wanted to play. I mean, being from Halifax, I always loved the Mooseheads, but I was able to grow up and watch, Nathan play and Huberto and all those guys. I remember watching them progress and win the Memorial Cup. So that's kind of what always, when I got drafted, I was super excited. And, I love coming back here, have great memories, and couldn't ask for anything else.
There's something really unique and special, I'd say, about this alumni group from the Sea Dogs that I suspect you really don't see in junior hockey. You guys are all still pretty tight. Even the different groups of guys that have come through now seem to connected. What do you remember about the camaraderie that you developed with your teammates, and how do you stay in touch with the guys you used to play with back here even today?
I mean, it's obviously harder nowadays to always stay in touch. Everybody's got a different path, and we're all getting older and going different ways. But, I mean, it says a lot about the city, the place, and seeing that many guys are coming down. We're so many alumni coming down for the weekend just because we want to be here. We want to come back to the city, see our fans again, see the team perform well once again. So I think it tells a lot about the organization. But obviously, I think anytime these guys are going to say the same thing. Anytime you win, you became brothers, and I know it's a classic that we always say that, but it really is true. It's guys that you'll remember for the rest of your life, and anytime you get to see them, obviously you're always happy. So that's why we always come back.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, these guys were both after me, and there was guys before me, but I get the privilege to play against these guys in the NHL, and even if I didn't know them, there's always that little bond. Like I know where all the Sea Dogs are if I'm playing against them. You give them a little tap or something. There's a little bond there, even if you didn't play together. It's a special thing, and I know it's very cliche, but it's very true. It's the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I definitely echo exactly what those guys said, but it's just been a culture that's been built here. Everybody looks after everybody, very inclusive, and certainly helps when you win, but it's not the driving force behind it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the winning. Each of you guys won President Cups here. Nathan, you won a Memorial Cup. Maybe talk about that experience of working together, winning a championship. What did it mean to the group of guys that you had, and what was that experience like going through a season where you ultimately became the champions of your league?
Yeah, I mean, I could have kind of touched on it earlier. It's just such a grind. It's fun to come out and watch, but behind the scenes, how much work you have to put into it, and being in junior hockey is tough. Juggling, school and being away from home for the first time, and playing a long schedule, and then going against Canada's best in another tournament. It's a lot. It's a lot of work, a lot of hard work. And it just comes back to winning. It's a privilege, and like you said, I see guys here that I haven't seen in 10 years since we won, and it's just like I saw them yesterday. It's a pretty special privilege to be a part of.
Yeah, I think like Nathan said, I think there's a lot of work that goes into it. But I mean, at the end of the day, that's why we all play the game. Our goal is to win, and obviously, when you reach that goal to win the President Cups, it makes it that special. I think it's a group of guys that you go out there for 60-some games plus the playoffs, and you got to win 4 games each round, and then once you're done with that, you got the Memorial Cup. Obviously, Matthew and I didn't win it, but just to go and start over again, it's pretty hard. You're facing different teams, guys that you've never really played against, and I think that's what probably made it so nice for these guys to win the Memorial Cup is being the best league in Canada, being the best team in your own country. But I mean, at the end of the day, winning is what it's all about, and like we said, that's why we keep coming back here. We love seeing each other. We love spending some time in this city.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the cliche is just working hard, but it's it's certainly the bottom of it. It's what made everything work, and having a support of coaching staff and friends and billets and whatnot, it really makes it worth it when you win. So all that kind of ties in together.
You often hear guys in the NHL talk about playing junior hockey was some of the best times that they remember playing the sport of hockey. Is there anything particular that sticks out to you about your junior career? Maybe any player, a funny moment or something that you reflect back on and you think that was man, that was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. You dream up of playing in the NHL. It's all you want to do. But I just played my 9th year, and you look back, and some of my favorite days were right here. It's just a different league in the NHL. People have families, and it's a whole different animal. But here, everyone's going to high school together. Everybody's eating together. You sit on the bus for hours and hours together. So there's endless memories, but it's a bond that you guys are forced to like each other. You have no choice. You spend so much time together. So it's different when you get older, and once you get older, you learn to appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah, they get a lot of it has to do with us coming in so young, right? We're all 16, and Matthew and I played four years together. So many guys played together for 4 years. So you start as a kid, and you really leave this place as somewhat older, and obviously there's a lot of memories. There's so many on the ice, but I think, like you said, the amount of hours we put in the bus and just talking, playing games, and just the jokes going around, I think those are all memories that you remember. And obviously the NHL is great, but there's nothing like junior hockey. All we're here to do is go to school, and we're here to play hockey, and we're all learning together, and that's what I think makes junior hockey that good.
Yeah, I mean, just like these guys, I have countless memories. Being on the bus, playing cards, just joking around with our teammates who, you end up being so close with and whatnot, and, going to battle with them 68 times a year is really what it was all about. And, I can't say enough about my teammates and certainly, everybody that was a part of it.
Who's the funniest teammate that you've played with throughout your career? And tell us a funny story about it.
I'd go probably Nhl. That'd be an easy pick. Funny story. I mean, there's a lot of them. I just think it's everyday shenanigans that he comes up with that it's just sometimes you wouldn't even believe that somebody would even think that or say or whatever. So, but I mean, there's so many stories. There's so many guys every day. That's what it's fun about playing the game of hockey is every day coming at the rink, and there's always something going on, and there's always something funny. But I would say Nate was probably around 90% of them.
Oh, okay. Give us an example. You said that you couldn't imagine he would do it. Give us an example.
I mean, there's always something. He would always steer the putt on the bus with the younger guys trying to annoy the older guys in the back of the bus, or whether it was throwing some candies or whatever it was. He was always in the mix, in the story. And then he'd come back in the back of the bus just saying, like, who did this? I can't believe he did this. But he's the one that started the whole thing. So it was just like stories like that every day he was just around it, and you knew it was him, but then he would just take it to the grave and say that he didn't do anything, wasn't part of it. So it's pretty funny.
I played with a couple of goofballs. Danik Gauthier would probably be my number one. I can't even put a finger on a story right now, but if you run into him this weekend, he's just a walking comedy show. Everything he does is for a laugh. So I can't think of one particular story, but if you cross paths with him, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
I mean, I've got to agree with Thomas. Definitely Nhl, but we had a bunch of funny guys, actually. Another guy that comes to mind would be Kyle Ward. Just a good maritime boy that enjoyed joking around with the boys. He'd hop in on Nate's antics every once in a while, too. So we had a ton of fun.
Let's talk about making it to the NHL. Thomas and Nate, you guys were high draft picks. Talk about that moment of getting your name called on the NHL stage, and what did that mean to each of you guys?
Yeah, it's it's probably one of my biggest moments of my life for sure. You work your whole life for it, and just getting the call and going up on stage is something you dream about as a kid. So being able to do that, and Thomas as well. As soon as I knew he was getting picked, a former Sea Dog, I followed him, his career, and he's an exceptional player. So it's been pretty special. It's a moment that kind of it stands stills, but it goes by so quickly that you wish you could live it all over again. It's kind of you kind of black out and don't even believe it's happening. But special moment and something I'll never forget for sure.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same kind of feeling. Obviously, anytime we said it early in the interview, I think it's our dream is all to play in the NHL one day. And when you hear your name getting called and being drafted, I think you're that much closer to making your dream come true. And obviously, I think the biggest part for me was obviously it's great for myself. It was awesome. It was the best day of my life by far. And like Nate said, I think it's you kind of just black out and you don't really remember what's going on and what's happening around you. But I think the biggest thing, probably the same thing for those guys too. It's just having the chance to have my parents there with me and enjoying the day. And obviously, we talk about sacrifices and everything they did for us. I think that's a big thank you for them. I think the amount of vacations they miss or the weekends for themselves that they miss because my brother and I were playing hockey, so to be drafted and spend the day with them, and I had a lot of close friends and families there too. So it's all the whole crew that supported me my whole life, and just spend that day with them was awesome.
Matthew, you actually went undrafted, but then signed your pro contract. But what was that like for you? Obviously, perseverance was part of it, but what did it tell you about yourself and kind of sticking to it and ultimately hanging in there to get to the NHL?
Yeah, I remember actually draft day, and obviously being very disappointed that I didn't go 2 years in a row, and I wasn't necessarily sure if I was going to go, but it's everybody's dream, so it was very discouraging at the time. But at the same time, it motivated me, and I have to say, having my parents, my billets were a big part of this as well. They kept me on the straight and narrow, and told me every day like it could happen. So I just kind of put my head down and basically grinded it out until I got something. And very fortunate now to kind of be where I'm at, and Chicago gave me a chance, and very fortunate that they did.
Talk about that first game in the National Hockey League where you pull on an NHL jersey, step on that ice. Like what's the emotion that's running through you at that point? And did you think back to all those years that you put in, wondering if you're going to make it, then all of a sudden you're here? What's that moment like, stepping on the NHL ice?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same as the draft. It's kind of one of those moments that you wish could last forever, but happened so quickly. I remember I was at the Bell Center against the Rangers, and I just remember after the game, just getting back to the hotel and being like, wow, just played my first game. And I'm glad you brought up Heisey being undrafted, because me and Thomas were obviously very fortunate to be high picks, but shows a lot of heart, and he did it the hard way, which is good for him, because it's a lot more difficult road that he went down. So I know the first game's always more special, but I think Heisey, it probably tasted a little better for him.
Yeah, I think it's kind of the same thing. Obviously, being a first-round pick, you're getting maybe more chances that Matthew would have gone through over the last couple of years. So, but you know what? That feeling the first game was pretty special. Obviously, once again, my parents were there as well, so it's a big congratulations to them too for everything they've done for me. But no, the moment was awesome, just being around, and there's a lot of butterflies. There's a lot of just being nervous all day long, but I mean, it made it that much better. I think, obviously, my first game was in Ottawa, too, in front of our own fans, so it couldn't have been any better.
Yeah, I remember. Well, thanks, by the way. I appreciate that. No, I remember my first game. It was -3, I think, 10 minutes in. So it didn't
All right,
quite.
I take it back.
It's all nerves. So it didn't quite go to plan, but you know what? It was a surreal experience. I think we were in San Jose, and we didn't ultimately win the game, which probably made it a little bit not quite as sweet. But to be able to get there and share with my family was just an awesome experience.
I got to ask you a question, actually. So I'm an Oilers fan. The bubble, you absolutely killed our team in the bubble. You scored the really critical goals against the Oilers. What was that experience like, playing in the bubble and stepping into that environment, no fans, isolation? Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, the bubble was an interesting experience. I'm sure these guys would say the same thing. It was just nothing
wasn't
that
there.
anybody's kind of been a part of. You know, the NHL did a great job.
I wasn't there.
Fair enough. Anyways, bubble was an interesting experience. Just the NHL did the best that they could. They put on an excellent event. It just wasn't the same playing without fans. We were very lucky to be there. Ultimately, won a round, but it's obviously a once in a lifetime kind of experience, and hopefully we don't have to do that again, and we're able to play in front of great fans.
Thomas, you had the chance to represent your country, play for Team Canada, World Juniors. I'd mentioned kind of in the intro, first defenseman to win the MVP of that tournament. What was it like putting on that Team Canada jersey and representing your country?
I mean, anytime it's, once again, it's cliche to say, but anytime you get the call to represent your country, it's a huge honor. It's a lot of fun to wear that jersey and represent and play in front of everyone. Obviously, my first time in the World Juniors, we were in Finland, so the feel of the tournament was a little bit different, but that second year, obviously playing in Toronto and in Montreal in front of all of our fans, still to this day, probably the loudest building in Montreal at the gold medal game that I've ever played in front of, and obviously those are memories. Once again, we lost in a shootout, which kind of still hurts for couple of years later, but I mean, at the end of the day, the experience is amazing. You get the chance to play for Team Canada, play as best as you can, and obviously, just to put on the jersey, it's awesome every time.
You know, you hear a lot of, at least the media will tell stories about Erik Karlsson being a good mentor for you and kind of developing your game after him. Who are some of the guys that you've played with that have really helped you out along the way once you've made it to the pros and kind of helped you become a better pro?
I was fortunate enough. When I first came into the league, there was a lot of those old school guys that were just kind of getting out of the league. Nhl Goal and Travis Moe and Josh Georges, kind of guys like that played for 15 years before I got there. So it's a different. You really have to adapt to the lifestyle of professional hockey. It's a lot different. You're living on your own, and your billet family's not cooking you meals and driving you to school anymore. You got to kind of take care of yourself. So there's a maturity stage to it, but I think the NHL has got a bond that within the league that older guys take care of younger guys, and they can attest to this. I know there's probably a million guys that they could say that have looked after them, and there's new guys that come in every year that do it. Now I'm kind of on the other side of it, seeing younger guys come in now, which is cool, and it's a different generation, but there's always 3 or 4 older guys on every team that usually help younger guys along.
Yeah, for me, I think my first year I was fortunate enough. Derek Brassard took care of me that one year. I moved in with him on my first year, and obviously he's been around for years, and he's played on a lot of different places, so he helped me a lot. But I mean, like Nate said, I think there's so many guys along the way. I think every year you get some new older guys that come along, or guys that have been on the team for multiple years. So I think that's what makes it great. I think you get to learn from different guys, and obviously some guys that have been in different teams, so they've seen different perspective of the league and how our teams are runs and everything. And but you also get guys that have been in Ottawa for 10 years, like you said. Like me being around Eric, my first year obviously was awesome. I mean, it was a guy that I looked up to and really enjoyed the way he played the game, and just to have the chance for 30-something games to be on the same pairing as him, obviously I couldn't ask for anything better.
A little bit of controversy to the end of that tournament, perhaps. One of our panelists happened to be in the box when we were scored on in overtime. What I've heard you say after you thought it was a bit of a soft penalty. What was the emotion going through your mind in overtime against Finland and that goal going in the net?
It wasn't good. I don't think I can say what I said on this mic right now, but you know what? It's part of the game. Mistakes are done. Obviously, on the international level, they have the chance to review penalties, which they did to us a few times during the tournament. So I thought maybe they were going to review that one, especially on overtime and on the gold medal game. But I mean, at the end of the day, like I said in the media after, like I put myself in that position. My stick was in between his skates. So obviously, the rest is I'm not going to comment it. Still, I've done it so many times, but it is what it is. It went through. It was still a great experience, but obviously very unfortunate that we lost that way.
Each of you guys have had the chance to play in Canada. A couple of you guys have played for U.S. teams. What's it like playing in the NHL in front of teams in your home country?
I mean, I think for me, it was a big eye-opener actually going from Chicago, where you have arguably 4 other sports teams that might be ahead of the Blackhawks, and then you hop into a Canadian market in Vancouver that's very passionate, and they care about what happens. So I've really enjoyed it. I think it's been great. The fans are into every game, and they really support the team. So it's certainly a little bit different because everybody eats, sleeps, and breathes hockey in Canada. But it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Yeah, I mean, starting in Montreal, obviously, arguably the biggest passionate fan base in hockey of all time. Like you said, there's not that's the one-way ticket in the city, right? That's what's going on. And then being in Buffalo, having a football team there that was kind of took over. You're kind of second fiddle. So there's nothing like playing in Canada. The people are so passionate in this country about hockey. And I enjoyed Winnipeg and Montreal. It's the biggest show in town, so you better play well or you'll hear about it.
Yeah, I think like Nathan just said, I think that's a downside of maybe playing in Canada is you get a lot of comments, but I think that's what it's all about is playing every night in front of passionate fans, and obviously everywhere you play in Canada, most likely the rink's going to be full of fans, and it's a fun crowd to be in front of. So obviously, especially for me being from Quebec, being in Ottawa, it's very couldn't ask for any better. Obviously, very close from home, and obviously Ottawa's a great city. Ever since I've been there, they've always treated the player and the team very well. So, no, I've been there for 5 years, and I wouldn't change a thing.
What was each of your first big purchase with that NHL contract?
I didn't, off entry level, I personally didn't really buy anything. I'd say my new contract was a house. That was the first thing I bought. Pretty good purchase, I think. You kind of need that. But no, off entry level, I think in junior, a lot of it was, I don't know, maybe like iPads, computers, some shoes, some stuff like that. Just the usual stuff. But I think my first really big purchase was probably my house, and then probably a car after that.
Yeah, it was just a car for me. How about you?
I didn't buy anything. I was sitting here trying to think. Maybe some new golf clubs. Yeah, I saved up pretty good.
What do you guys have on the go for the summer? Anything that you're doing that's fun? Travel, playing some golf? What are you doing to kind of get your mind off the game but also prepare for next season?
Obviously, there's a lot of training and skating involved, but I think for me, I had the chance to go to France just a couple weeks ago, which was awesome, and I think a lot of it is a lot of golf. The girlfriend's not happy about it, but I think it's something I need. And other than that, I think it's spending some time with my family. I think it's probably the same thing for those guys. We get obviously Ottawa. I said it's close from home, but you don't get to see your family a whole lot. So seeing the parents, my friends, everyone, it's always fun.
Yeah, I mean, the winters are so hectic traveling and so many moving parts going around. So for me, it's just golf. Kind of a homebody in the summer. I like to spend a lot of time at home and just enjoy, relax, recharge, skating and training, and get back at it.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Nothing crazy. Enjoy a couple rounds of golf. But yeah, staying close to home, hanging out with friends and family, and just enjoying the maritime summer is kind of what I plan to do.
I have a quick story to tell. couple of years ago, one of my friends, his wife was actually going through a pretty tough time with cancer, and their family were very big Chicago Blackhawks fans, and I'd reached out to Matthew to see if he would do something for them. They had a big event in their family. They were going to be there's a birthday celebration, which was also coinciding with their last cancer treatment, and Matthew was kind enough to send a video greeting to their family, and certainly they appreciated that. But I wanted to, first of all, thank you for that. But secondly, what does it mean to each of you guys to give back to the community, either that you came from or played in or that you live in? What does community mean to each of you guys?
It means a lot for sure. I mean, anytime, obviously we're athletes, but you're also a human being, and you know there's a lot of stuff going on. We're so focused, and everybody loves the game of hockey, but there's a lot of more stuff going on in the world. So anytime you get the chance, like you just explained, like Matthew did, anytime you can take some time out of your day to just go and see someone, send a video, make a phone call, whatever, just to help someone, it can make a big difference. And I've seen it a lot over the last couple of years, and obviously you always want to do more, but obviously throughout the season there's a lot of stuff going on, and you can't always be there. So obviously with phones nowadays, send videos and everything you can do to help families, different situation, obviously it's always fun to do.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything different. It's just really important, I think, to all of us to give back to people that have supported us, and that have given time to to see us play and whatnot. And if we can lend a helping hand, we're always happy to do so.
Well, it's awesome having you guys back in town. If you're open to it, maybe we'll take a couple of questions from the crowd. Maybe my last question. Predictions on the score tonight?
It's got to be a Sea Dogs win.
All right. Anybody have any questions for the guys before we let them go? All right.
I wonder if each and every one of you would describe your first goal in Major Junior, please.
First goal in Major Junior.
Oh, I got lucky. Mine was in home opener here, my first game against Val-d'Or. Yeah, I got a nice pass from the point and lucky shot. Lucky to get it out of the way pretty early. My first NHL goal actually was against Ottawa, but it took a long time, and it was an ugly goal.
My first goal here in St. John was, mine was late actually. Mine was like game 41 or 42, I think, my first year, and it was talking about being lucky. It was a nice D-to-D in the neutral zone, and I got to the red line, and I just rimmed it in, and it hit one of the things in the glass and just went in the net when the goalie went behind the net. So, and that was my only goal that year, so I'll take it.
He had a couple the next year, though.
Yeah, a few.
I think, tough joke. I think mine was, it's bad, I don't even remember. I believe it was a bank shot that I was just standing off to the side of the net, and it went off my shin pads, and it was pretty lucky, but at that point you don't care how it happens, you're just happy that it happened.
Any other questions for the guys? Yeah, back here.
Questions for Nathan. Nathan, what is it like playing for an Original Six team, and how was it going in a dressing room and everything around that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's special. I think I was so young to be kind of oblivious to the whole situation. You get into that locker room in Montreal, and there's guys that have played the last 100 years in there, and all the Stanley Cups they won, and all the individual awards too, and a lot of the alumni still hangs around there. They're a big supporter of the team, so it's a special, sacred place, you want to call it. Not a lot of people get to get into that room, just hockey players and usually their kids. But it was a real eye opener, a real special experience.
Matthew, you actually played for one as well in Chicago?
Yeah, it was the same thing for me. We're lucky that we had a lot of alumni around as well. They had a lot of actually current player and past alumni events where you get to pick people's brains and learn about kind of what they went through. But yeah, it was super cool. Just all the history and things that are hanging around and stories that were told.
For all of you in the NHL, who is the worst player to play against?
What do you mean by worse?
For you on defense,
No, but I mean like toughest to play against. You mean?
toughest to defend against?
I mean, pretty easy answer. I think I'd probably say McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, probably those two guys, just because how fast they are. But I mean, every night you play a different team and you play different guys that are so talented. Every team has amazing, usually top 6 forwards that are very hard to defend. So, but my two guesses would probably be these two.
Yeah, you can go all day between those two. I get that question a lot. It's a toss-up there. McKinnon and McDavid would be the scariest. McDavid especially because, you know, he's so fast, he'll go around you, but Nate, he'll go right through you too. He's a bull, so you can pick your poison with those two.
Yeah, I mean, I would pick those guys too. It's a little bit different as a forward, but you just always need to know when McDavid's on the ice. He's just lethal from anywhere, and you know, he can wind it up in behind the play. You don't even know where he is, and next thing you know, he's in front of your net with his hands up, and he's got a goal. So it's got to be him for me.
You probably get that question a lot. So who was your favorite hockey player when you grew up, when you were a kid?
Mine was Crosby, Sidney Crosby. Yeah.
I was a diehard Red Wings fan, so Nick Lindstrom and Stevie Yzerman were my idols growing up.
Yeah, I always looked up to Sidney Crosby as well. He was always my idol.
Any other questions for the guys? Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Awesome to have you back in St. John, and hope you guys enjoy the game tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks
So
for having us.
Tomorrow we have our final one of these. It's at 4 o'clock. Jonathan Huberdeau and Alex Beauregard will be here. That's at 4 o'clock, and hope to see you all then.